Hi, hope you're enjoying French history. Today is the last session 9 of French history. Today we going to conclude a question answer series of NCERT exercises. Today we begin with NCERT exercises. It's a mixed bag question answers formed in exercises. Let's begin with NCERT based question answers. So, question number 1, NCERT described the circumstances leading to the outbreak revolutionary protest in France. We already discussed various points on it. I just include some more points. That was social inequality. French society in the 18th century was divided into three states: the clergy, the nobility, and the third estate. First two states were exempted from paying taxes, and they enjoyed all privileges by birth. They were exempted from paying taxes, as I told you. The third estate comprises of businessmen, merchants, peasants, artisan, labor, and a common masses who pay taxes to the state and even to the church. Political costs, long years of war have drained the financial resource of France. France had a debt of more than 2 billion livres, leveraged the French currency at that time. To meet its regular expenses such as cost of maintaining army, the court, and other government offices, universities, the state were forced to increase taxes, which angered the people. One is economic problem. The population of France also increased from 23 million to 28 million in 1789. So there is a shortage of food grain, increase in the demand of food grain, the price of bread also get hike. Wages did not keep pace with the rising prices. This led to the subsistence crisis. Another point is strong middle class. A new middle class merged, educated, wealthy during the 18th century. They believed not that no group in society should be given privilege by birth. As they are open up, they are broad-minded. The ideas of equality and freedom were put forward by the philosophers like John Locke and others. The idea of philosophy were discussed intensively in saloon, coffee houses, and spread among people, and definitely the American Constitution gave breath to them. Now, immediate causes were on 5 May 1789. Louis XVI called together an assembly of state journal to pass proposal for a new taxes. Third state protest against this proposal, but as each state have one vote, the king rejected this appeal. They walked out of the assembly and assembled in the indoor tennis court, where they declared National Assembly to limit the power of monarch. So this became the first outcome of outbreak of French Revolution. France become a constitutional monarchy and limit the power. Let's have some more questions. Question number 2. Which group of French society benefit from the revolution? Like a group was forced to relinquish power. Which section of society would have been disappointed? City outcome of the revolution. This is a cluster of complex questions together. So here we have a simple answer. It was the richer member of the third state who mostly benefited from the French Revolution. The clergy, the nobility were forced to relinquish or surrender their power. Okay. They were forced to give their all privileges. The poor classes of the third state and women's who have been disappointed with the outcome of the revolution, as the promise of equality discussed during the revolution was not given. They were now divided into passive and active classes. The poor class have no right to vote, and women too don't have a right to vote. So still there is an autocracy in the constitution. Still constitution is divided in different institutions, different bodies. There were legislative, there were judiciary, there were executive, but still there is a mass gap which filled in the later stage when France totally get republic. Let's discuss some other question. Describe the legacy of French Revolution from the people for the people of the world during the 19th and 20th century. The idea of liberty and democratic rights were the most important legacy of the French Revolution. These spread from the France to rest of Europe during the 19th century, where feudal systems were abolished. It inspired the German, Italian, Austrian to overthrow their oppressive regimes. The French Revolution inspired the struggling nation of Asia and Africa who were groaning under the oppressions of European colonialism. It could be the Britishers to whom we are talking here. Now, the Tipu Sultan and Raja Ram Mohan Roy are the two examples of individuals who responded to the idea coming from French Revolution. French is also ruled on us, and the reason called Puducherry or a Pondicherry, whatever you call, is in Tamil Nadu region, right? It's a union territory, right? Now move to the last question of French Revolution. Draw a list of democratic rights they enjoy today, whose origin could be traced to the French Revolution legacy. So the right to equality, freedom of speech and expression, right against exploitation and right to justice are some of the examples of French Revolution outbreak. Here we could to mention the philosophers, their thinking, their approaches which influenced the French people so immensely that they could be the result of today. So here we done a session and a chapter of French Revolution. Hope we meet soon with the next chapter that is based on Europe is based on Russian Revolution. So meet you soon and please don't forget to subscribe.